Back live with you tonight, and thank you very much for staying on. Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96 in New York from congestive heart failure, it's reported. The American singer, activist, and actor whose close ties with South Africa dates back many years. He had a successful working relationship with both Miriam Makeba and Hugh Masekela, and in 2008 was awarded the Order of Companions of OR Tambo in silver by then President Jacob Zuma. For more on this, we are joined now by arts and culture practitioner, Dr. Sipho Sithole. Good to have you, Job, and thank you very much for your time. He is well known to us as an artist, concert singer, as a film, theatre and television star, as a producer, but also as the goodwill ambassador for UNICEF and the many connections that he has with South Africa, from the HIV/AIDS fund to work that he's done, particularly when it comes to children education. But to the music fraternity, he's somewhat of a genius, is he not? Especially in this genre called calypso. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, maybe I should break into that song. It's Teyo, Teyo, morning come now, we wanna go home.
Yeah.
That is how we knew Harry Belafonte when we were growing up. And let me first say that, you know, there's something so intriguing about cultural memory, especially when it is transported to new geographies. Because you would think that Harry Belafonte, having been born in America in 1927, even though he's born to Jamaican parents with a Scottish and Jewish blood and all of that, he would have been just American as we know them, you know. But he was lucky that his parents also took him back to Jamaica at a very young age and only came back to the U.S. to start high school. And his cultural upbringing and his childhood memories actually then overshadowed what would have become of him as an American, because all he could remember is him being an African of Jamaican descent. And his entire disposition to how he saw himself in the League of Nations was what role he would play to make sure that wherever people of faded colors like us, wherever they are oppressed, he is a voice of reason and an activist. And Tina, when we were growing up in the 80s, we were hiding an evening with Harry Belafonte, the album that he did with Miriam Makeba, because it was banned. I remember I had a cassette of that. And had Harry Belafonte not done something with Miriam during the height of our struggle, he would have been probably just been another artist like any other artist that we know in America. But Harry Belafonte chose a particular path, that he would use the mic. I always tell young people that when you've got the mic, it's a very responsible, you must use that instrument responsibly. That microphone, because you can either build a nation or break a nation. He used this mic to build bridges.
Yeah.
It is not surprising that even South Africa remembered 2008, which is the song was done in 1964.
Yeah.
That Harry Belafonte, but we remembered that in 2008 to give him that author, the companion, the author of OR Tambo, for his role. As you know, this weekend, Tracy Chapman and Peter Tosh are getting again the same order.
Yeah. What would you say shaped his musical political outlook? Because it seems to fuse very well together, and his personal investment in civil rights.
Well, remember also that he grows up during the civil rights movement, at the height of the civil rights movement, and actually having been born just at the dawn of the Great Depression in 1927, I think, if I remember, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the president at that time, born of parents. His father was a chef, so the suffering of black people was him. So he knew this very well because he had lived it. And whether he had done it deliberately, but as artists, we always say that artists, they look at society from the outside and then critique it. And what you hear them saying is based on what they observe. So he would have been shaped. I don't think I would have loved to have been growing up in America in the 60s, it was tough for black people, even prior to that, the lynchings. And if you came out of that system still sane, you had a strong willpower. And he came out of that system and he became who he was. And I was lucky, by the way, that I met him here in South Africa, because when we knew, Dalimpof and I, when we were running the SABC, when we heard that Harry Belafonte was coming to South Africa, we reached out to Caiphas, who we knew that he had worked with Harry Belafonte. When we had a special dinner hosted by the SABC, where we invited some key figures. I mean, Johnny Clerk was there as well. And I also think that him having met with Miriam Makeba, there is no way that he would have escaped that conscientization about what was happening in South Africa. I mean, Miriam Makeba had just spoken at the United Nations in 1963, and then they do this song, if I'm correct, in 1964. And Miriam Makeba was going out with Kwame Ture, who she left with to go and live in Guinea, and he was with the Black Panther. So this was a community, a network of very conscientized individuals. And
of course, leading to his, I suppose, close connection with Martin Luther King, who became a confidant to Martin Luther King, and personally supported that work and opening up his wallet, actually, to fund some of those activities.
I mean, this is what we say to young people here in South Africa, that as you get this fame that you get, we don't want you to start bragging about driving a Bugatti and whatever, Rolls Royce, and taking photos. Use the power, the influence that you have to change people's lives. And I mean, Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier, who was his mentor, they could have decided to just say, we're the most liked black people, and we are influential, and we are living our life. Let's not worry about anybody who's suffering. They used that influence, and he died an activist, he died an actor, he died a singer and a composer, and he died a philanthropist, and someone who was not hesitant to speak and lend a hand. Hence we recognize him here in South Africa. And I don't know who had made that submission. I mean, I made the Solomon Linda submission now for the author of Ikamanga, which the family will be getting now posthumously. I don't know who had made the submission nominating Harry Belafonte, but we are grateful to whoever did that, so that us as South Africans we can remember his contribution in the struggle of our liberation.
The Daily Mail calling it the epitome of celebrity activism. What do you think would be his lingering legacy?
Sorry, just repeat that.
I'm saying, what will be his lingering legacy in music, in politics, in the civil rights movement?
Is a person who used his talent and his voice to make sure that if he was called upon as an activist, he was there. If he was called upon to compose a song that will highlight the plight of blacks wherever in the diaspora, where he would. This song I broke into now, Deo, was a song that was used to be sung by dock workers in Jamaica who were loading bananas into the ships,
Yeah. In fact, he says it's not a celebratory song at all. In fact, it's a rebellious song.
Exactly. We would not have known that actually there were people who were working throughout the night in the docks loading bananas and waiting for daylight so that they can come home. And that song itself would have then forced anybody who wanted to know the history of Jamaican slavery and all of that to then read more. And he popularized it. I mean, he didn't compose the song. That song was done before him, and then he did it later. It's the same thing as Miriam Makeba taking songs that were not composed by her, but because she gained that popularity, she was able to say, I can now take this song. And Harry also did the same thing. If people were to know about what Jamaican workers are doing, the enslaved, this is the song that I can use. And he became known through that song. And I guess Jamaica also got known through that song and the plight of the enslaved and the Africans working as dock workers in the ships.
Job, always great reflecting with you. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. That is
thank you,
practitioner Dr. Sipho Sithole there.